Inheritance, and today we are going to look at multiple inheritance as our next portion in our study of object-oriented programming. So like it is working from home, we can expect a few disruptions here and there. Just keep focused. So you could realize that there are some times when a base class can also be derived from another class. In other words, we say class A is the base class for class B, but then class B can also become the base class for class C. So that is what we are implying there. So I think we can take that in examples. We can talk about animals. Then after we talk about animals, we can talk about mammals. Then we can also talk about four-legged mammals. So in other words, a mammal is an animal, and then a four-legged mammal is also an animal. So you can see that the mammal, the four-legged mammal will inherit from the mammal class, though the mammal class is also inheriting from the animals class. So that is the level which we are talking about, those three inheritance. So as an example, we have a situation whereby we define a class. So if not defined, that if and if, it shows that if this class has not been defined anywhere else, we are defining it here, and we're also including another class, ftDistance, ftD dist, which is already in existence. In other words, that's why we include it as a header file. So in our line, where we are defining our class called inch distance, we are showing that it's inheriting from feet distance. All right. Then it has its own functions, member functions and attributes, where we have a protected attribute, and then the member function that we have get distance, set distance, and get fit and the like. So this end if now end this if, that is, if it's not defined, then this should be defined here. But if it is defined, it means it will just proceed point. Then the inch distance CPP class, it now includes inch distance header, which we have created in the previous portion. And now we are defining a set distance member for inch distance. So this scope resolution operator will now show that this set distance which we are talking about is from this inch distance and not from the other class. Then it shows its functions. Then also call the set distance from the fit distance class. Use this scope resolution operator. Then we go on to our execution where we have our main program, including all those other inbuilt C data files in this user-defined data file. In our main function, we are defining inch distance. Inch, that means inch becomes an object of the class inch distance, which was defined there. Then we also have a variable called in. Then our prompt enter distance in inches. I'll convert it to feet and miles. So the standard input will wait for you to input something, and that input will be the value of inch, which is our floating variable there. Then inch dot set distance, we are now saying this set distance now is an image of the set distance member function, but it's an image of this object called inch. Then it runs there. Then we give out our precision for the output. Then also the iOS, it is a fixed set formatting. Then we call our images of the member functions is being called by this object inch, right, which is an object of inch distance class. So we get distance, get feet, and get distance, get miles, right, and it will print out like that. So that is how you show that you can inherit it from another inherited. So multiple inheritance, when a class derived class has two or more base classes, right? That means one class can have more than one base classes. So in that case, if not defined date, define date.header. So we are saying if this does not exist, then it shall be defined and it will exist at this point. Our protect member functions day, month, and year. Then our public member functions date, which means this one will be what? The constructor, right? Same name as the class. Then it has takes its own variables d, m, and y. Then day is got d, month is got m, and year is got y, right? Then int get day, void return day, get month, and get year. That is what this class will be doing. Then if not defined time, we are defining another class called time, right? Which also has its own variables, hour, minute, and second, and then it calls its own get functions, just like the date function. We have a date time. Include the date, we are saying the date already exists. Include the time, we are saying the time still already exists. So if we are saying assume that date still already exists, or times already exists, all we are saying is that this class is already defined somewhere. In other words, we just include it as a header file. You don't have to redefine it. So if I say assuming that this already exists, all you have to do is execute this line, which makes it accessible. Then class date time, we're now defining the time using a public interface. It inherits from date and it also inherits from time. So this is now a concept of multiple inheritance. It's inheriting from two classes, date and time. It has only one protected attribute, date string, and public member functions. Date time, that means this is its own constructor, and then uh, this is what it takes as its. Then datetime.cpp is now include datetime. Right now we will be surprised that why don't we include all the others? If we include the datetime here, when we run datetime will include the other classes where it is inheriting from. So here we just take this one. This one, when it is called, it will call whatever it has on its own. So we don't have to include all those other classes here. Include the string.h. This one is from C++. std library again still for C++. Void datetime. In other words, we are calling the constructor of datetime from the datetime class, and it takes all those parameters that are present in the date and the time constructors. Then it sets the date by the day, month, and year, time, hour, month, and second, right? Then character temporal area, then string copy. It copies all these other things using string copy, right? So that is how this will be, right? So we proceed with our string copy. So we are copying all these files into the temporary storage characters. Install in the format hours, minutes, and the like. And now taking it in this way. Then main program include the time, like I said, it will include it, and it will also the time on it. Then formatted character arrays 20. Daytime, first day, takes that using those situations. Then get time also date format in that way. We've seen that this is in